So we have started server manager. The second option is add roles and features. Please click on this, each one of you. And here the wizard will start for installation of roles and services, features, whatever that you opt for, whatever that you select in the next upcoming screen. So this will be a role-based feature based installation. Click on next and select the server name. This has been already highlighted. This is the IP address, the private IP address of our virtual machine. The public IP address is the one what we have given to login. We will select the same default server. Here we need to select the web server IIS, Internet Service Manager. We have selected this. Click on next. Click on next again. Once again, click on next. Click next and install. This will take 1 to 2 minutes max. The installation will be completed. So what we are doing now here is we are installing IIS web server into this bare metal virtual machine. This is just a virtual machine like our laptop or a desktop computer. It is not having any other additional software apart from the operating system. The base operating system is the Windows server, what we have installed. On the top of it, we are installing IIS web server. Once this web server is installed, this virtual machine will start behaving like a web server. You can host your websites here.
Can I ask one question here, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah, for this installation, for every instance or every virtual machine, you need to install this IIS, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Once you install in a particular virtual machine, it will belong to that particular machine only. It's not another machine.
That is correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we are all good to go. The installation is completed successfully. We will close this server manager dashboard as well. So you can open the file manager. You can right click on the start button, click on File Explorer or File Manager. So we will go to this PC. We will expand that tab. Select Drive C, your hard drive. This is the new folder that has been created. Okay, you can see the timestamp 6 o'clock, 1 minute, early morning. This is the time zone of our region, the virtual machine where we have created, North California, right? So this is the timestamp of that particular availability zone data center. It is their local time. So we'll expand this INET pub folder. Down below, we have www root folder. Get into that. Here you will see two files. One is a HTML file. Another one is the PNG file or a picture file. We will open this picture file. Before that, let's do one thing. Let us come back to our AWS Management Console. I will capture the IP address, the public IP address. It is 13.57.233.232. I will share this IP address as well in our chat. Please try to open this IP address in your web browser, you should be able to see the default web page of our IIS server. Here, I think we have not enabled the incoming traffic while creating this virtual machine. We'll go to security groups. Inbound rules. We will cover all these things in the upcoming classes. Don't worry. I'll teach you each and every. Here you can see we need to add one more rule. Only RDP is there. We need to provide HTTP protocol. So once this is saved, I'll simply go back to my web browser. The tab what I have opened, without doing anything, you can see it open. See, friends, this is what the default home page, the web page, what we have, what has been provided by IIS, Internet Information Services. Now I will go back to virtual machine where we have that home page as well as the HTML page. So I will edit this picture file. I'll open with MS Paint. I will add some text here. I will save this file. I'll come back to my AWS Management Console. I will just refresh the web page. You can see that. So universally, anyone is opening this website. This is not the DNS name. This is the IP address, the public IP address. They can see this changes, whatever the changes that I just made. Can someone try from your end and give me the confirmation? Yes, it is working. So we will move on to the next. I have shared the IP address in our chat. Is it working, friends?
It's working, sir.
Oh, okay, good. I was waiting for you people. I will not be monitoring the chat. So please be vocal. All right. Okay, with this, we have completed the web server part, how to create a web server, correct? And also I was telling you how to connect to the private IP address, correct? We have two virtual machines. One virtual machine we have already connected, that is 13.57.233.232. I will connect to the next virtual machine without using the public IP address. I will straight away capture the private IP address. Okay, how to log in? To log into this another virtual machine, let us say this public IP address we have masked. At the beginning, while creating the virtual machine, we have disabled the public IP address feature so that this public IP address will not be there at all for the virtual machine. Only private IP address will be there. We will connect to this private IP address. How to connect to that? For that, you need to have a already running virtual machine in the same network. Okay, what is same network? It is in the same availability zone, correct? Now here in this Windows environment, I will open MSTSC. command. I will give the private IP address of that another virtual machine. Once again, I need to provide the credentials, administrator, and the password. I'm sorry, I did not capture. I will go back here. Sorry, here only. For this virtual machine, click on connect, RDP, get password. I got the password now. I'll go back to my virtual machine. Inside the virtual machine, I'm connecting to another virtual machine through the private IP address. So from one virtual machine to another virtual machine, I'm logging in. I'm taking remote desktop connection. Now we can see this is the second virtual machine. Here I can see there are two virtual machines side by side. You can see the background virtual machine. What you see is the primary virtual machine. I will create a shortcut, maybe folder here. This is the primary virtual machine. From that, we have connected to another virtual machine. This is the new one. This is the secondary one that has got the private IP address. Got it? Even to check what is that naming convention, one of the participant was asking. I'll go to CMD here. I'll type ipconfig. It will give the IP address 172.31.16.1. To verify that, I'll come back to my AWS Management Console. This is a second machine where we have connected. Okay, first we'll see what is the IP address, private IP address. It is 172.31.31.250. Yes, here it is. It is the same IP address. Is that correct? 172.31.31.250. So the backend is background one is the primary virtual machine. Let us find out that virtual machine IP address also. So the primary IP virtual machine IP address is 172.31.24.136. Let us verify that. It is this one, the above one. Here it is, 172.31.24.136. So this is how we can connect between two virtual machines when the public IP address is not available or intentionally disabled. This is how exactly in the corporate world it works. We call this as a bastion host or a jump server. If someone in this group is already working in a corporate environment, usually we connect from our home network, right? Work from home option. We are connecting to our corporate network, sitting at our home or a coffee shop outside the office premises. At that time, we will connecting to one computer in the office. From that computer, we'll be connecting to remaining servers. remaining virtual machines. That is how the settings are made. That type of setup is called as bastion host, or in common terminology, it is referred to as a jump server. So this is all about the lab exercise of Windows-based virtual machine creating with the detailed in-depth analysis. Also further hosting a web server. So the next lab exercise will be performing the same steps, whatever we performed in Windows-based operating system. But this time, we will be creating a Linux-based virtual machine. We'll create a Linux-based virtual machine, and we need to install a web server into it. Can someone tell me what is the web server that we will be installing in a Linux-based machine? What is the name of the web server? It is Apache, right?
Apache server.
Apache server, correct. So that is what we are going to perform. I will leave this lab exercise as it is. I will not delete it. I will do it later. So once again, North California is the same location I picked up, the region. I don't want to create virtual machines in different locations and mess up. It will be easy for me to delete all these virtual machines at one single go at a later stage. So friends, if any one of you performing this lab exercise side by side along with me, you are free to do it. I encourage doing that. I will go as slowly as possible so that all of us will be on the same page. So to begin with, I'll go back to AWS Management Console. Let me start from the scratch. Instead of clicking on services and selecting EC2, I will straight away type that EC2 here in the search bar. This is the second way, right? Second method, correct? We can select the service, any of the service that is available in AWS Management Console. So I will choose the option launch instance. You can see already my two virtual machines, which are already up and running. I'll go to launch instance, select launch instance. I will give you the naming convention, Linux VM1. And one of the participants was asking, can we create virtual machines, two virtual machines in two different availability zones? Yes, of course, we can do it. We will do that. This time, let us not go with the two instances. Let us go with one primary instance itself so that we will create two virtual machines 2 times in 2 different availability zones. I will go with Amazon Linux operating system for this. Next, this is the architecture. This is the hardware configuration that has been selected. Default, it is a T2 micro. Select the key pair name. I'll be creating a new key pair. This time I'll be selecting a PPK. Putty private key it is. I will give it as Linux VM1 since we are targeting to create 2 virtual machines. I'll create a key pair. I'll save this file in my desktop for easy access. File has been downloaded. Next, we will get into network settings. Here also we need to have the HTTPS traffic. Okay. Subnet. Gentlemen, one of you were asking, can we create 2 virtual machines in 2 different availability zones? Yes. For this virtual machine, I'm selecting availability zone US West 1B. This is the location. And this is what I was referring to, auto assign public IP address. Here I have enabled. For the next virtual machine, let us disable it. Let us see what will be the output, how it will behave. Security group name. It is, I called it SG. SG stands for security group, Linux VM1. HTTP traffic is already added. And please remember, for Linux-based virtual machine, that too in specific for Amazon Linux base operating system, if you select, the default storage offered is 8 GB. You can go up to 30 GB if you want. 8 GB itself is more than enough for Linux-based operating system. So that's why by default, 8 GB has been provided. Additional storage, if you want, you can provide. Add additional advanced details. We are not touching upon that in this lab exercise, which is not required. Of course, we are going to touch upon all these things in the upcoming classes. And click on Launch Instance. View all instances. So our Linux virtual machine is instance state is pending. Status check is still 0. And even before the virtual machine is up and running, you can see the public IP address and the private IP address is already allocated. Meanwhile, let us not waste time. Let us go and create another virtual machine, as one of our friends who was asking, can we create 2 virtual machine in 2 different availability zone? Of course, that we are exploring now. Naming convention, I will call it Linux VM2. Once again, by default, I'll go with Amazon Linux. Default T2 micro, that is a free tier available, eligible. Create once again PPK file. It will be easy to remember. I will go with the same name as I had given for the virtual machine. Under network settings, I will make changes. Okay. Subnet, this time I will select availability zone 2. Second one, last time we have selected US West -1B, this time 1A. And this is what I was keep on stressing upon, referring to auto assign public IP. This we will intentionally let us disable it. Okay. Additional security group, as we have selected in the previous case, we will go with HTTP traffic as well. Hard disk storage will go with 8 GB and no more further changes or additions. Will go with launch instance. The second virtual machine is also getting created. You can see here there are 2 virtual machines. Both are getting initialized. Now the availability zone, here you can see one virtual machine is in US 1B and another one is in US 1A. For US 1A, we did not select the public IP address intentionally. We said disable it. So thereby you can see the IP address is not available. Only the public IP address is available. So how do we log into this virtual machine? To log into this Linux VM2, we will have to log into VM1. From VM1, we will have to do SSH, that is secured shell command we will have to run by providing the private IP address of VM2, Linux VM2. That is how we can connect. All right. So VM1 is up and running. I will choose the shortest way to connect to this virtual machine. I have selected this virtual machine. This is how we will connect to virtual machine when there are multiple virtual machines are available. Okay. So whichever virtual machine that you want to connect, select that, click on connect. And can someone tell me which tab I will have to click on to connect to this virtual machine? Please remember, this is a Linux based virtual machine.
SSH client.
SSH.
SSH, that is correct. If we select SSH, we can select this SSH command. This is what I was referring to. If you are connecting from one virtual machine to another virtual machine, we will use this. We'll use this command. Okay, so this virtual machine is still not ready. Let's check once again. Okay, now all the 4 virtual machines are up and running. We'll go with VM1. Let us connect to VM1 that has got the public IP address. So we have EC2 instance connect by default. The username is EC2-user. Please remember, all Linux-based virtual machines, depending upon, once again, distribution to distribution. If it is Ubuntu, it will be Ubuntu only, the username. It will not be EC2-user. So I will click on connect. Okay, now we are able to get into our Linux virtual machine. Is there anyone who is performing this lab exercise side by side along with me?
I'm doing it, sir.
Who is that?
This is Shreyar here.
Okay, all right, Shreyar. Okay, so now we have successfully logged into this virtual machine. Okay, right now your EC2 user, that means you are a normal user. You are not an administrator in this virtual machine, in this Linux-based virtual machine. You should be an administrator to perform the administrative tasks. To begin with, you need to type a command called sudo sudo space su. Please remember, all the commands in Linux will be case sensitive. Almost 99.99%, all the commands will be only in lower case. Okay, the same type, if I type in capitals, it will not work. It says command.found. Instead, if I say first letter capital sudo su, it will not work. Okay, so only it works in lower case. So once this command is executed, remember in Windows environment, what is that we did? We have installed IIS software, right? So similarly, we will have to install the Apache software here, Apache Webserver software here. The command is yum. Yum is an installable installation package manager. -y install httpd. This is the command. Please make a note of this command. I will share this command in chat. I'm so sorry. So this command will download and install Apache Web Server into our virtual machine. Okay, and it clearly says it has been installed successfully. Srihari, did you able to achieve this stage? Did you able to reach up to this stage? At the end of the line, it says complete.
Not yet, sir. I'm having issues with logging in, so I'll have to redo it.
Okay. Anyone else is doing this? Performing this lab exercise side by side? All right, we are running short of time. Well, let's proceed. Srihari, you can go through the video at a later time, or you can also download this lab exercise that I'll be sharing in a while. Okay, you can perform
sir.
this. Okay, so next we have just downloaded this piece of software. We will have to configure that software. Okay, there is another command. Sudo command is like run as administrator in Windows environment. Okay, because still we are in the username ec2-user. We did not change it to root user. All right, so the command is sudo service httpd start. Okay, so now the service httpd is the Apache. It is other name. httpd is the other name for Apache. It has been started. The service has been started. Let us run this service. There is another command, sudo systemctl start httpd. Remember, guys, we can provide either of these two commands. It will start this service. So once this service is started, we will have to create a web page. Please remember, in Linux environment, it is completely the black window. We need to type each and everything. That means including our web page, we'll have to create the HTML code. We will have to write it. Okay, so with this, it will be creating, just like in Windows, it has created INET pub folder. Within that www root folder. Here also, it will be creating a folder since we have created this HTTPD software, Apache software we have downloaded and installed. The folder is a CD variable folder, CD var www.html. This is the folder. Okay, I will give this command as well in the chat. So if someone is performing this lab, they can also run this command side by side. Okay, so now we can see the folder name has been changed, okay, to HTML. Earlier it was in the home directory of EC2 user. All right, so here we need to create a HTML file. Remember, in Windows environment, there were two files, one HTML file and one JPEG file, correct? So similarly, we need to create those two files here. That we need to do it manually. Okay, I'll give that text HTML file source code. I will give you. I had given a simple HTML file for our web page, for our website. All right, so I need to create this file. Okay, I will use an editor called VI. VI is an editor in Linux environment. Okay, it is just like our notepad in Windows. The name of the file will be index.html. I'm creating a new file called index.html. I will save the content. This is the content. So here, the background color for this web page, I'm changing it to orange. And in the very first line, it says, this is my day 1 lab exercise. In the second line, it will say you have reached my Linux web server. Okay, I'll save this file. To save this file, you need to press escape key, then type the :WQ. W for write, Q for quit. Now we have successfully created this virtual machine. And as we know how to access this virtual machine, we need to have the public IP address of this virtual machine. This is VM1. I have copied the virtual machine IP address, public IP address 3.101.33.244. I will share it in the chat as well. You can also open a tab and try to access this. So do you see that? This is my sample web page created in Linux environment. So if I want to make some changes, can I do it? Of course. For that, I will go back to my Linux machine again. Where is it? Yes, here it is. I will edit this file once again. Instead of orange, let me make it green. My keyboard is not cooperating. Okay. I will save this file. Let's simply come back and refresh this web page. You can see the background got changed. Correct. So this is how a detailed line by line code will be written to create a HTML page, to create our web pages. Between these lines, we can add our picture files. We can provide a JPEG file, anything and everything that you want. You can make it a static website or a dynamic website. Okay, a dynamics website is the one where you enter the details, those details are accepted, and it will behave. The web page will behave as per your requirement. It is like banking website. You have entered your username and password. That is a dynamic. Similarly, you went to your Facebook, you have entered the details, it captured. Then it will allow you to post your messages or pictures in the Facebook wall, correct? That is dynamic web page. So those web pages are created using PHP. All right. So with this team, we have reached at the end of today's session. We have completed the lab exercise as well as completed the theoretical part as well. These are all the 3 lab exercises that we have completed. As usual, I will be sharing this complete recorded video as well as the lab exercise step-by-step guide in the YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Download this lab exercise. It is really in detail, very minute details are covered, including whatever the steps that I had shown just now, creating the HTML document, all those things. All these informations are covered in detail, in full. Please make use of it and shape up your career.